Hey guys, the following is a video that we made concerning locks on the Elevate. This is for when you don't have the key, the original key, and nobody recorded the key number. The locks are made by ABUS. ABUS tells me there are about 10,000 different combinations of that key that it could be. So it does require a new lock unless you have the key number. So I strongly recommend you guys write that key number down, put it on the description of your bike, or put it in the sales notes somewhere. But anyway, if you have the key number, you can go to the link at ABUS and you can just order as many keys as you want. No problem. This is for when you don't know what the key number is. And so here's the following video. Hey guys, Kevin from Pedigo Boise. So we did kind of a crazy thing. I ran into a crazy thing. We've got two Elevates that were on the floor. When we went to grab the keys to get the batteries out of these, we realized that we didn't have the keys. They somehow got misplaced, lost, tossed, I don't know what. But anyway, so this is a video about replacing that lock. I'm just going to switch my lens here. We in just a second, we had to drill out the lock at the, I guess, the instruction of ABUS. These are an ABUS lock. But let me show you a couple of things here. So get this screen switched back over. Okay, so there's the Elevate lock with the ABUS lock in it. There's no numbers on this lock. If you lose a key, you have to buy a whole new lock and key. There's no way to find the number for this. You can see we went the destructive method. We started out with a 3/16 bit, went to 1/4 inch, and then 5/16, just pulled that cylinder right out. Once you have the cylinder out, then you can reach in and release this, and this just goes back up into the bike. So what we did, and so when the battery's in here, you obviously can't get at any of this. The battery's locked in. So here's the lock end that you're replacing. So that's an assembly. We'll kind of go over that in a minute. But what I noticed once I got the battery out is that at this end, there's really nothing holding or locking this in. There are these two screws right down here that hold in this entire mechanism. And so I've got one more of these bikes to do. This battery's still in there. We would have to drill out this lock, but I don't think we're going to have to. I think that we can just get at these screws, loosen those two screws, and pull this assembly back and remove the battery on this. I'll let you know here in just a second. Yeah, so sorry I'm handheld today, but I am removing these back two. It's 3mm. Releases these guys. Those two silver things that you see down in there, those are simply holders for the cable. We'll get this other one out with our magnet. Pulls it right out. All right, well, let's see if we can pull that out. And sure enough, that pulls right back. And now I can remove my battery, just like so. And now I can get to my lock assembly without destroying that cylinder. But now I can put my replacement lock cylinder in, which actually looks like that. 57020. It's going to come with the keys. Comes with two screws that are actually behind the cover plate here. But again, there's a little bit more to getting into this, so I'll get into that in just a second. So now, actually, the next thing to do is we are going to take these two screws out and get this assembly up out of here. We'll be right back. All right, well, we've removed those two 3mm screws down there, and now, guess what? This whole assembly just comes out, and we can work on it on the bench to replace that lock. And by the way this is done is we access it from these 4 screws, not these 4 screws. It's these 4, and then that's going to slide back out of there. So again, I can show you a breakdown here in a sec. All right, so we're going to get into it using these 4 screws. They do seem to be Loctited in. Yes, they are. Notice that on the first one that I did. So of course the first one I disassembled from the this front area, and that's kind of a mistake. Because to finish the job, get the plate back on, you actually have to come from this direction anyway. Okay, and now this whole thing will slide out from this direction. This is kind of like a picture hanger. It has to go in like so. So that's why you can't assemble it from the other side. So we'll lay that down. You have a spring that goes on top of that. And there's your 2 screws. So we'll just we'll take those 2 screws out. We'll put our new lock in place and start to reassemble. So just to show you, I started to put this together with the key oriented in the wrong direction, so you can actually have this oriented wrong. This actually needs to go this direction, so this screw is actually going to go over here, because we've got to get the key going out sideways from our release mechanism. I'll show you that here in just a second. Okay, so fair warning, this plate can be turned. You can see that it has a cutout for the lock here. It also will fit there, so be careful of how that's oriented. Our spring goes on to the pin, and then remember this has got kind of a keyhole, so that goes in and slides down, and now the entire mechanism, and again this will only go in one way, the entire mechanism drops in once we hold it all together. Drops in just like that. I'll put those screws in just a second, but you can see now that that key is activating that guy. So, be right back. Okay, so there's the reassembled lock, ready to go back into the bike, which again is another trick. But we have successfully replaced the lock, which is now going to go back into the Elevate. We'll get everything screwed back in there, but we did not have to drill out that lock assembly. We can remove the battery, by removing the 2 screws back here. And those little tabs that you see laying in there, those just hold your cables down. That's what they do. And of course the bracket itself holds the power bridge in place. But that is how you replace a lock in an Elevate. All right, so we're going to go back in with the power bridge now. Kind of a pro tip: take this plug and get it out of the way. It's kind of a thick bushing in here, and a grommet, I guess it would be. We're gonna remove that guy. You want to hold that first? Thanks. So I'm kind of pushing from the inside and just peeling that out of there. There we go. Because all this is going to do is fight you the whole way when you're trying to get everything lined up. So now if you look inside there, you can see our lock cylinder and so forth. But we've got to get all this lined up and get the cables out of the way and these 2 screws onto that guy without pinching cables, without pinching the power button up there to the on-off. And so it's going to go about like that, and you can see why that rubber grommet would fight you the whole way, but it goes back in pretty well once we get this assembled. Okay. All right, well, just to bring you up to speed, there's our battery. Everything's back in. Got the power bridge mounted down. Snap the battery in, and it looks like I'm going to have to take everything back apart because this key is doing nothing. This key is not pulling back that that plastic piece that was keyed. So we'll do it once more and let's see if I can identify that problem. Okay, well, pulled that power bridge back off so that I could again pull the battery out without using the key. And it looks to me like everything is working the way that it should. So somewhere we've got a fitment problem. Maybe that battery wasn't snapped all the way in. I'm not sure, but anyway, it's finicky, so gonna play with it some more. Okay, so actually the key mechanism is working fine. I think it was just jammed in there because now I have to figure out on this power bridge, it is adjustable. So it's adjustable for, and I probably had it like jammed all the way forward, which was holding these guys down and making that lock ineffective. So now I have to figure out exactly where those guys want to be. I'll let you know. Yeah, so that was in fact the issue. So I remounted that and I just shoved the power bridge all the way towards the cranks and tightened them up. And now we have a wonderful working release. So now knowing that, I'll probably adjust the other bike because that battery seems to be a little tight. If your Elevate battery is a little tight, maybe those 2 screws there holding that power bridge, and the power bridge can come back. All right, I'm gonna consider this one a wrap.